whole thing happened spontaneously. Um, it was actually the last day before our office was closed, and we are thinking, we have to be able to try to do something to help. And I think one of us said, "What about something like songs of comfort and hope?" And so um, in order to do the hashtag, another person said, "Well, we have to make it shorter. So how about just songs of comfort?" And actually, I had brought a cello in that day, and so I happened to have it, and we said, "Okay, how about if we just record some songs and just from an iPhone," which we did. And soon after we closed the office, Italy got really hit badly. So we thought we should send something to Italy, and gradually it unveiled itself in terms of where we thought uh, music or personal messages might be needed. One of the things that I love about that piece is um, it's it's one of those pieces that um, you can listen to whether you are in a celebratory mode or meditative mode or mournful mode. So it's one of those wide pieces of music um, that I think music can be. Um, and so it sort of catches so much. And in its particular history, it's also really interesting because uh, the composer was both a composer and a teacher. And as a teacher, he taught his students uh, not to imitate him. He told his students, "Don't copy me, but listen. Listen deeply to everything around you." And listen. And he was a teacher at the end of the 1800s. He came from Bohemia to the United States and taught in a music school in New York. And he listened to the music of Native Americans. He listened to the music of African Americans, to spirituals, and he then said to his students, "Listen to those musics. Listen to the music of immigrants, to what people are saying and singing, and then you will find your voice." So not his students, but his students' students became Aaron Copland, George Gershwin, and Duke Ellington. Culture is the human being's way of interpreting the world so that it makes sense. Period. It is also uh, everything that we've invented, whether it's concepts, stories, tools, to acquire that method of interpretation so that we have knowledge that we can build upon. Everything that we've invented is everything we have: cities, cultures, nations, science, politics, ways of governing, um, you know, uh, engineering, our bridges, water systems, boats, planes, agriculture. It's all things that we have developed in order for us to interpret the world so that we have a better chance to not only to survive, but to thrive. Speaking of collaborating, I think one uh, one of the essential values that I hear people talking about when they talk about uh, jobs, where are the future jobs coming from? Um, I think A lot of people talk about science, technology, engineering, and math. Uh, we talk the STEM. I talk about STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, uh, as the engine that's going to drive uh, productivity in this century. But I would add collaboration is absolutely key to getting anything done in the 21st century. And if we're going to build anything, uh, it's going to take collaboration. Uh, and it's going to take collaboration between people and between disciplines and between countries and between geographical regions, because without that, there's no chance that we can solve the planetary problems that's facing us. 90% of our brain is fighting to get noticed. And that's the 90% of where, for example, music takes place. Yes, we can listen to it consciously. I can analyze every detail of something. But actually, the way it affects us is through our senses. You know, it's energy moving air molecules that hit our ears that the brain interprets. We can feel it in our skin, which is our largest uh, organ, and we can it can evoke the sense of smell. It can evoke visualizations. It could evoke narrative. It could evoke uh, our own history by getting to our limbic system, which is one of our primal places, and you hear something or you smell something, and it could immediately take you to when you were 3 years old. You know, what else does that? And if you exercise that part of it, it helps us develop imagination. It helps us develop curiosity. It helps us develop motivation. It helps us develop passion. So I'm really interested in the role of, you know, of arts and sciences, big science, big history that can play on our understanding and therefore our interpretation of the world, so that at 8 o'clock in the morning when I wake up, it can help me decide how I'm going to be today, how I'm going to treat my fellow human being, how I'm going to feel better today than yesterday because I made certain decisions before I got out of bed that I think I will try something slightly differently. And if you actually think of yourself as an art form and your whole life between birth and death is your work of art, then you're connecting what only you can connect. Seeing the world unfold and but what I feel we're going through now, I do a lot of thinking about three things. We've just gone through the blizzard. We've survived. We're trying to we're in emergency mode. We're coming out of it to settle in for the long winter. And we need a different kind of energy to settle for the long winter because we need that energy to last, right? And we're in the midst of trying to think of how we rebuild for a world we want to live in. And that world may be the coming ice age. And that could be a different era, and that could be something, but we want to build and have the tools and the collaboration and the trust and the truth seeking and the service part that allows for societies to function and to thrive. And that's all because of the culture that is at the base of everything. Before economy, before politics, before anything else, if we don't have that, everything that we build can very easily crumble. But if we have that, we have the resilience and we have the possibility of rebuilding no matter what comes our way, because we are sustaining one another and together we're stronger.